Good evening, everyone. I'm Rakhi Gautam from greytHR, the moderator for the session today. We are delighted to have you join us for the fourth episode of the PSP Parichay webinar series by greytHR. Thanks to everyone for taking out the time. Now, before we dive into the topic, I would like to quickly take you all through the agenda. So the session is divided into two parts. The first part will be the presentation by our expert, which will then be followed by an audience Q&A. So the audience Q&A is where time is all yours, dear attendees. You can start putting your questions and we will take them up towards the end. So let's try to make this session as engaging as possible. Also, the session is currently being recorded. So if you happen to miss out on anything, do not worry at all. We have got you covered. We will share the recording with you once it is done. And this recording will also be uploaded on our greytHR official YouTube channel. So you can always go there and watch it. Now, as I see a few of you are also raising your hands. So if you have any feedback, any questions, you can in fact start putting that all in the Q&A option, which you can see on your screen, and we will take them up. So now, without any further delay, let's move on to the topic, which is global payroll management, trends and challenges in 2024. So in the next hour, we will be exploring the dynamic shifts in tax laws, labor regulations, and compliance requirements worldwide. We will also discover how automation and cloud solutions are reshaping global payroll management and learn about the common challenges organizations face when managing payroll across different regions. We'll also discuss some strategies for you that can help you standardize and streamline your payroll processes across multiple countries. Now you can see that there's a lot that we are going to talk about, and to decode all of that and share his insights, we have with us joining us Mr. Akash Mahagaonkar, Director Relativity Management Solutions India Private Limited. Now let me quickly take you all through his profile. Akash is a mechanical engineering graduate turned certified financial planner and has a rich 15 years of experience spanning diverse roles. From steering European markets at Tricol Limited to contributing to personal financial planning at Dreams to Wealth, he currently serves as director at Relativity, a leader in payroll and compliance for corporates and MNCs. Akash combines engineering acumen with core finance operations, humor, of course, and audience engagement. An advocate of truth and integrity, he developed proprietary methodologies for successful payroll and compliance implementation. Beyond his professional endeavors, Akash is a respected writer on personal finance and taxation, a Rotaract Club past president, and was also nominated for the Change Looms Award from the Sri Ratan Tata Trust. Now you can see that we have gotten the perfect person with us today to help us in this webinar. Once again, I welcome you, Akash, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much. Absolutely a pleasure to be here.
Likewise. Okay, so as I said, there's a lot to be discussed, and of course, you're the right person to, help us with that. So I would now like to hand over the session to you. You can share your screen and take us through all the wonderful insights that you have.
Absolutely. And I believe that you are able to see my screen, right?
Yes. Yes, it is visible.
Great. So, ladies and gentlemen, and all the future leaders who belong to the great and mighty nation India, it is absolutely a bliss to see you today on the occasion of this webinar about global payroll management trends and challenges in 2024. It is interesting when greytHR or the greytHR team, when they wanted to have this webinar, they reached out, and then I was trying to suggest another topic, and I will actually admit that when they suggested this topic, I myself was a bit mesmerized by the topic, and I thought, okay, why not take this and talk about it? And that's what we aim to do over the next 35-40 minutes. Rakhi has given me strict instructions of what I can and what I cannot do, and how much time I can use and how much time I cannot. but with all your support and your interest, we'll keep the session very lively and very young. With that, let's drive light. Quickly, brief agenda for all of you, ladies and gentlemen. We will address 4 big elephants. You know what a big elephant is, right? You can talk about n number of complexities. You can talk about n number of current challenges and the future trends. But there are 4 big elephants when we talk about global payroll and what trends are happening in 2024. Those 4 big elephants is what we will address today in the next 40 minutes. First one is all of us believe, or it is written in our blood that Indian payroll is complicated. Indian tax is one of the most complicated in the world. So we'll try to decode whether it is really a myth or a reality. And trust me, when I say I'm going to decode it, I have enough evidence to prove whatever I'm going to present you. And I'll share that evidence with you as well for your good judgment. The second big elephant that we are going to address in the room is all of us have heard about this, equation is there in chemistry, but there is also an equation in payroll, and I will talk about it in when we come to the second big elephant. The third is how many of us have heard as HR as a business partner, right? Now it's a decade-year-old term, HRBP, HR as a business partner. Now the trend is going to be that payroll will be looked at as a business partner, a very, very important business partner, in fact. And when we talk about global payroll, what context do we have to have when we say payroll as a business partner? So that's the next big elephant. And the final big elephant is the elephant of data. I mean, that's the biggest of all, but I'm breaking the eat the frog methodology and I'm having that to the last, and we'll spend some time on that. With that, I want to know about each and every one of you. So we are going to quickly play a small game. Yeah. Do you all have your fingers on your, either your laptop or on your screen somewhere? If you can quickly come to the chat, we'll get to know about ourselves a little bit more. So this is this or that. How many of us have played this game, right? I'm sure we've played this game, this or that, when we were young. So I'm going to present some pictures on the screen, and I would be delighted to know what you like. Yes, and that's how we'll get to know. And you can post your responses on the chat. How many of you like the cute little doggy or the cute little puppy? Sorry, the cat. On your chat box, you can say this or that on your chat box. You can say dog or cat on your chat box. Okay, we can see some.
Okay, so in case you're not able to put your response on the chat, you have the Q&A option available. You can put that there.
Yeah, you can put it on the Q&A as well. Okay, we can see. Oh, yeah, a lot of dogs, in fact. Beautiful. None. Oh, that was not at all an option, but nevertheless, yes, we like to improvise. Absolutely. So there is cat and dog and cat and dog. Beautiful, guys. Thank you very much. But I think I think we'll have to give it up to the dog. I can see a lot of dog, and then there are about 39 responses. I encourage all of you, each and every one of you. You've come here for a different experience. You've come here to learn, and I think we have to break our thought process and get into this energy of learning. So please help me set the context there. I'm doing the next thing, and please let me know what you like. And I'm sure this is a lot more easier. I would be seriously surprised if somebody says none on this hills beach. Okay, hills.
Also, let's make this very engaging, everybody. I think this is a very fresh and a new, unique start to a webinar. But this is making us, this is very engaging and it is making us think. So I think we would require all of you to participate. all of you who are raising your hands, you can just put your option there in the Q&A panel, and we'll take that.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for that, Rakhi. And there is beautiful beaches or the beautiful hills. The hills could be the Nilgiris, the hills of Munnar, the hills of the Uttarakhand, or anywhere in India. And beaches are also plenty. So I can see a lot of hills and I can see a lot of beaches. So let's say we should be divided 50-50. I can say that. Okay, both. Finally. And it's the weekend. What would you like to do? Sleep like this baby? Or they say drop till you shop. This or that. Okay? This or that. Sleep. Hands down. A lot of people sleep. A few shop though, but a lot of people sleep. Shop, okay, that's a lot of peace there. Shop and sleep. Great, guys. It was so nice to get to know each and every one of you in your collective responses. We know that there is absolutely no right or wrong answer here. It is our perspective. It is how we have our environment around us. And the same way is going to be this webinar. There is absolutely no right or wrong slide, no right or wrong question, no right or wrong thoughts at all. It is just about our perspective and about our environment. And I would also like to make it a point to state here that I am not a person who is more intelligent than you or a person who is more knowledgeable than you. Today, I have just chosen to be here and to share what I know to all of you. And I'm sure each and every one of you are going to do this, one day, and I will be one of the participants. So with that, let's quickly jump on to the first big elephant. India's most complicated country for payroll and taxes. A lot of times when we talk about payroll and when we talk about taxes and when we talk about specifically about TDS and the number of rules and regulations that are there, it is but natural for us to hear somebody saying that, oh my God, there are so many rules, so many regulations that India has. But I have to break this myth. Do you think India is in the top 10? What do you guys think? When we talk about global, we will have to do a comparison, right? We just cannot say India has a lot of regulations. We will have to look at in comparison to the other countries, where does India stand? And when we have this perspective from local to global, the complexity of regulations is very, very important for a payroll company or a payroll professional. And here is where I stumbled upon a global payroll complexity index. A global payroll complexity index is a study done by a payroll service provider, which ranks countries from 1 to 40 based on how complex their payroll is. And what you can see on your screen is that India is not on the top 10. India, in fact, is on the 21st most complicated country out of the whole 40 countries that they have looked at. In fact, if you see, Canada and Turkey are the two countries who are not belonging to the European Union on the top 10, but all the rest belong to the European Union, right? So what you can get to know from this particular study is that we don't belong to the top 10 countries which are most complex in payroll. Second, European Union has a lot of complexity with respect to payroll, and there are top 3 factors when we talk about complexity. These are the 3 factors. What are the mandatory deductions that an organization has to undertake with respect to their employees? Second, what are the social security calculations that a payroll processor or an organization has to undertake? And third, what are the compulsory reporting types? And you can see that France, Germany, and Switzerland top the chart. France, Germany, and Switzerland top the chart. And you should also know that France, Germany, and Switzerland don't even have the maximum number of employed people across the world, right? So payroll complexity varies in a great manner, 91% from the most to the least complex country. So you can see the wide variety of complexity. France, the number one, the most complex country, if it is at 100, right? Saudi Arabia, of the top 40, Saudi Arabia is the least complex country. And in this, it is at 9. So you can see that 91% is the difference, and that's a very, very, very stark difference for payroll complexities. Before we get into how this helps us as a payroll service provider, what I want to do is with the help of Rakhi and Ramya, if we can bring on the first question on Zoom, there is a quick question that I have so that I can tailor the rest of the presentation and the rest of the examples and the context that I can use to all of you. So here it is. What best describes you? There would be a poll that would have started already. What best describes you? Are you a chartered accountant? Are you a HR professional? Are you a payroll professional? Are you a business owner, or are you somebody else? You know, if you can help me understand what best describes you, we will be able to unlock certain specific examples which I can tailor to you guys, to my audience today. Okay, so let's quickly take a couple of seconds.
Yes, so we already have some 68% participation, but I would urge everybody to participate. This will help us understand where we can, take this session today, in which direction.
Absolutely, and specifically, it'll help me understand what kind of examples I can use, so I can tailor it to the top 2 category of participants in today's webinar.
One thing that I can already say is that this is the most personalized webinar because there's a lot of engagement which is happening. We're asking a lot of questions from the audience, and it's not just static. I feel like, with virtual, we have been talking about how virtual has sort of slowed down things and all of that. But I think this is something that is an opportunity which virtual has provided. All of, 120 people sitting together, participating. There's a lot to more, to do more here. So great.
Fantastic.
Okay, I think we have the answers. Let me end the poll and share the results with all of you.
Yes, please. Okay, so that's interesting. We have 52% of HR professionals as the top participants. We have 31% payroll professionals. That's beautiful. So that's about 83% are between HR and payroll professionals. Fantastic. I will definitely use this, and I'm so thankful to each and every one of you for giving this, for letting us know what kind of opportunities that we can see with this elephant around us. Is the opportunity in where complexities exist, or is there opportunity where Indian SMEs are expanding, right? Now, both of these have very different contexts. When you are a HR professional, when you are a payroll professional, you should look at, okay, where Indian SMEs are expanding, what is the next markets where India is going to go? And you may want to be prepared for that market, right? You may want to be prepared by knowledge. You may want to be prepared by trends. You may want to be prepared by information to get into that market. Indian SMEs are expanding left, right, and center. And what is happening is that we are having a long tail expansion. See, 80% of expansion happens with 20% of India's top companies. But the remaining 20% of expansion happens with the 80% of India's companies. And this is called as long tail. You know how the long tail runs, right? So you will have a few people opening offices in South Africa. You will have a few organizations opening offices in Macau. You will have a few organizations opening offices in Hong Kong. And these offices, when I talk about Indian SMEs, they will not be large offices. They will be offices of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or those single digit or max to max double digit employees, right? Because Indian SMEs manufacturing base is India. The base to produce a service or a product is India. And then all of the offices that they are going to have in other countries are front facing offices, which means they will have their sales team, they will have their marketing team, they will have their service teams, in those markets. And the galore of opportunities talks about getting yourself prepared for those markets. You are a payroll professional, you are an HR professional. If you are here attending this webinar, there is definitely one reason. You want to be prepared for the next wave. Yes. And the next wave says that there are 20 more countries which have complicated payroll. And there are 20 more countries which have less complicated payroll than India. We sit exactly in the center. And that is something that is interesting to all of us to learn and to get to know. Second gallery of opportunities is where complexities exist, right? So thinking or decoding this on a payroll professional's point of view, when we know that there are complexities, do you know what follows complexities? Challenges. Yes. So when you know that, you want to support your organization, expand into France. I've just explained to you that France is the #1 most complicated country for payroll. And here, it is the most complicated country. See, we have the third most complicated country, which is Switzerland. You know why it is most complicated? Because of the number of data points that the Switzerland government wants. Point number one. And point number two, because they have 3 official languages. So if you are a HR professional, if you are a payroll professional, and if you see your organization or the market itself per se expanding into these countries, you may want to be prepared where complexities exist. You may want to educate yourself. You may want to get ahead of the curve, and you may want to keep yourself abreast of what's happening in these markets. And that's the kind of galore of opportunities that are available. Of course, if you are a business owner, I saw some business owners also attending this webinar. So you are a payroll service provider, you have a payroll business, you can look at it in 2 different ways. One, you could expand where complexities exist, because where complexities exist is where expertise is most wanted. Expertise is not wanted where complexities don't exist. Would you agree with me? Yes. Second is, if you are already serving Indian SMEs, you may want to be their service provider of choice when they expand, right? You don't want them to go search of another person somewhere else. You may want to show, and you may want to be prepared that, okay, in the next 5 years, you are going to expand to these countries. I, as a business owner, am prepared to help you expand to these countries with local collaboration, so on and so forth, which we will continue to see in the next few slides. So this is one big elephant that we've addressed about complexities of global payroll. Second big elephant. I like equations, and this is an equation that I like to propose to all of you. What is payroll? If I have to put it as an equation, I'm not trying to define payroll. I'm trying to put it as an equation so that I can decode payroll. People, process, and regulations. Yes, that is what is payroll. Payroll is a combination of people, processes, and regulations. By regulations, what do I mean? Provident, let's say if I talk about India, Provident Fund is a regulation. In Singapore, Provident Fund is replaced by CPF, right? In Hong Kong, it is replaced by, it is the CPF again. In another country, it is something else. Yes. So there are multitude of regulations involved in payroll. So that is a very, very, very important part of the payroll equation. Now, when you get to know regulations, you can build processes based on those regulations. Please be very attentive. You can build processes based on those regulations. And you can have people who will run these processes or who will extend their expertise for the regulations or who will serve payroll as a whole, right? So this is how you decode payroll. You don't go from the left to right. You come from right to left. Payroll is regulations. We decode all of these regulations into processes so that they can be repeated n number of times. And we have people who empower running regulations by expertise or who empower processes by running them over and over again. Now, what happens when you go from a local to global thought process is with more regions, you get more complications. Do you know that just like how we have laws in India to deduct taxes, to withdraw, to, with respect to provident fund, with respect to ESI, with respect to PT, with respect to LWF, Labor Welfare Fund, with respect to Shops and Establishments Act, with respect to minimum wages, equal and a lot more regulations are there in other regions. Offline, online, a variety. Yes. So more regions mean more complications. And when I say more complications, what do I mean? I mean all of these: local expertise, tax laws, employment regulations, social security requirements. What are the reporting requirements for each and every region? If you actually go and start decoding the reporting requirements, I will tell you, if I don't know how many of you are already doing global payroll, but if you are, you know what I'm talking about. The myriad of reporting requirements that exist will just let your head spin. And then another aspect is that of local language. English is not the only common language spoken across the world, right? You look at Asia. English is not the most common language spoken across the world. In Japan, you have official documents in Japanese language. You have the tax forms issued in Japanese. In China, they are in Chinese language. In Thailand, they are in Thai. It's not in English. You look at European countries, a lot of European countries do not depend on English. They depend on their regional languages. In Netherlands, it's a different language. In Finland, it's a different language. In Sweden, it's a different language. I happen to be in Oslo. I saw that it is an absolutely different language there. And it has nothing to do with English at all. And you are expected to work in that language. Though there is a lot of awareness of English, but still local language is very different from English. And that is very important when we talk about global payroll. Right? So here, it is not only about the local expertise, but it also extends to tax laws, it also extends to employment regulations, to social security requirements, reporting requirements in local language. And all of these collectively form what I call as regulations on the first circle from the right. Sorry, the second circle from the right. Right? With this, you build the processes. And these processes can run on a software. These processes, if they are too small, a lot of these processes run on Excel. These processes go and sit, get embedded into your brains, right, as knowledge. And that is how your people make a lot of difference in global payroll. Right? So when we talk about trends, when we talk about the changing aspects of global payroll, please be mindful of all of these regulations which impact processes which have to be run by people. One of the examples that I would like to give is with respect to these reporting requirements. If you can see on the screen, you will see how different the reporting requirements are. One of the aspects of reporting requirements you all know is records retention, right? We all know how long we have to retain records. How long do we have to retain records in India? We have to retain records for 7 years. That's what Indian law wants us to do with respect to tax. So any tax record we have to retain for 7 years. If you have given a deduction to your employee, right? It is a tax deduction. So that record has to be retained for 7 years by the business. If you can see, when you're talking about global payroll, you have 3 years, and 8 years are the least minimum. The most is 10 years, and 7 years and 5 years. It's so very different for each region. And this adds to a lot of challenges. And the simple solution to these challenges is in first understanding what the challenges are, what the requirements are, what the regulations are. Let me go back to my previous screen. What the regulations are, and then build processes which will counter those regulations, which will help us comply with those regulations. It could be in reporting requirements, it could be in tax laws, employment regulations, anywhere. It doesn't matter. Yeah. So what galore of opportunities are available here, right? See, it's very easy to say software will take care of everything. No, software will not take care of everything. We spoke about local expertise. Software doesn't take care of local expertise. Software will only give you gross to net. We ourselves had difficulty recently, I think a couple of quarters ago, when one of our clients in Hong Kong, an Indian company who have their offices in Hong Kong, Hong Kong suddenly changed certain regulations with respect to a form called IR 58 and IR 56. I'm sure if you are working on Hong Kong, you're aware. The client had all the software that they wanted. The client is a global multinational. The client had all the advisors that they wanted, but nobody was able to help with respect to this aspect, which actually required local expertise. And that is why the galore of opportunities is for you to have collaboration in local regions, right? It is incorrect to believe that software will help us accomplish everything. Software will definitely help you get to a point, but local expertise, local language, understanding local regulations, the practical aspects of it, you will need collaboration in those local markets to accomplish what we call as last mile services. That file, right, that I have to go and I have to work with the IRS in Singapore to push a claim of an employee, a maternity claim of an employee. You all know, right? In Singapore, you also get maternity claims. Though everything is online, but still, if something breaks down, I need a local collaborated person or a party or a service provider who can go and do that nudge. So the galore of opportunities with respect to this particular, elephant, the elephant which says that everything can be written down to a simple equation and can be done via software, is actually more collaboration driven. And you can go a lot farther through collaborations. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you are able to follow until this. And going to the third big pink elephant of the room. Payroll is going to move from that traditional back office sort of a function to a more strategic business partner. This is something that I would rather say that it is moving, not going to move. It has already started moving. Why I say it has already started moving is, ladies and gentlemen, because right from a manufacturing company which has about 8% approximately as its payroll cost, to a staffing company which has 95% as its payroll cost, right? Payroll can make a huge difference with data, with insights, and with intelligence. For a manufacturing company, we serve a couple of manufacturing companies, and you know, they asked us this interesting question. Okay, Akash, how do you think my payroll is going to impact my EBITDA? How do you think payroll is going to impact EBITDA pre-COVID and post-COVID? So here you are expected to be a strategic business partner. You are expected to answer this question. That is what the client is expecting. 10 years ago, Relativity is 15 years old, right? 15 years ago, nobody asked me this question. All they wanted is, boss, when will you release payslips? When will we get our Form 16? Today, payslips and Form 16s is it's not an expectation. It is the norm. It has to be met. But what companies are expecting is, okay, how is this going to impact my EBITDA? What should I be aware of? What is the band of employees to whom I'm making the highest payments? Where is leave encashment going? How do I predict leave encashment coming up? All of these. So we are moving from a traditional back office to a more strategic business partner function. And I don't know, maybe I should have asked this question, but I don't know whether you belong to the large companies or the small companies or the mid-sized companies. But let's say if you belong to the small and mid-sized companies, don't think that this is a lot many years further. It is already started with large companies. So with mid and with small size companies, it will happen in few quarters, if not already. Right? And when you ask me, okay, Akash, how do you say what is the differentiation between, means, let's say you ask me, prove what you're saying. So here it is. Traditional back office, pay accurately on time. Yes, we are all payroll and HR professionals. We know this is what payroll is expected to do. But as a strategic business partner, what we are trying to, even today, we have a project going on in Relativity, where we are trying to understand how can we pay faster, which is the time required to process payroll. That is what I mean by saying pay faster. If currently I am taking 4 days, can I compress it to 3 days? Can I compress it to 2 days? Labor regulations, guys, the new labor code, right? They want us to process full and final settlement in 2 working days. Currently, the norm is between 30 to 60 days. How are we going to process in 2 working days? So there is absolutely a need to pay faster, right? In some regions, they want to pay more frequently. Though the norm is monthly, they are experimenting if it would be a talent attraction method if I pay once in 2 weeks. They are doing these experiments. And fret not, but I will tell you that many of these experiments are actually proving to be a talent attraction strategy. Clients are happy with it. And as we go global, you will have more regions, more diversity, right? Even in India itself, you have a lot of diversity. You have a set of population, I mean, the working class or the labor class, which is paid on a weekly basis. You have some which are paid on a monthly basis. These are the most two diverse things that we see in India. But let's take an example of Australia. You see, predominance in Australia is bi-monthly, and then in some cases it is also monthly, right? You look at certain markets, they are trying to move out from bi-monthly to weekly so that they can empower their talent attraction efforts. So this is one example of how you can expect a talent strategic business partnership. Traditional back office is to comply with regulations, but strategic business partnership is not to comply with regulations. That is now the given, the norm, right? This is to undertake proactive steps to mitigate risks and complex regulations. So what payroll service providers, or what you guys as HR and payroll professionals, you should ask your service providers, or you should tell your management, is you need to advise on pay strategy. And imagine, not India alone, you guys want to go global. So choose those regions where you want to be an expert. Choose those regions where your organization is going to expand, and get advisory on pay strategy. Right? If you ask me, okay, what do you exactly mean by pay strategy? Right? When we acquired a client about a beginning of this financial year, we saw that their FBP, one of the components in FBP, was extraordinarily high. Right? It's not supposed to be that. Of course, we know that there is no black and white rules with respect to FBP components, but as a strategic business partner, we went back and we told boss, I cannot prove, there is no Indian law which says that you should not give this, but this is the business practice, this is the best practice. I think you should, check your tax exposure and address it. It was a recommendation, it was not an imposition. And the client actually was very happy that we went back and we told them. Right? So that is how you become a business partner, a strategic business partner. Undertake reporting requirements is the traditional back office. Here, be the source of input for people's strategy. What is your payroll data telling? You just don't deliver Excel sheets which has pay statements. That is delivered by a software. What are you delivering as a strategic business partner? You need to deliver insights. We need to tell the story behind the payroll numbers. We need to tell how much per hour is costing. And when we go global, these are the mandatory requirements that is expected out of us. Provide self-service was another baseline expectation. But as a strategic payroll partner or strategic payroll business partner, the necessity to have technology to enhance employee experience, and improve efficiencies, right? Bottom line, there is a recent study. I don't know who did it. I don't know if it is KPMG or EY. I'm not very sure. But one of these big fours, who told that process automation is the number one area where global multinational companies are investing, so that they can have 30 to 40 bips, BPS, means about 0.3 to 0.4% impact on their bottom line. And their bottom lines are in millions, sometimes in billions of dollars. So imagine 0.5% increase in their bottom line just because of improved efficiencies on payroll has such a huge impact on value. Right? Chatbots. We know the large organizations have started using it, but it is not going to be very late for the small and the medium to start adopting chatbots. You and I, we have started adopting chatbots, right? How many of you are now able to do some certain banking operations via WhatsApp APIs? You interact via WhatsApp, and it's a form of a chatbot. Attendance tech, geofencing, face recognition, all of those. These are attendance techs. It is incorrect to only represent one industry, which is the IT industry. Indian payroll or global payroll is a mixture of all industries. IT does not lead the pack. So there are a lot of field salespeople. And for field salespeople, they are using attendance tech through mobile. They are tracking. Right? And this is how you become a strategic business partner, and you advise your clients or your organization, or you get to develop yourself and use technology, use AI, whatever you want to call it, generative AI, BART or whatever. Yeah. Technologies on demand pay. In 2018, there is a comparison. The 79% was 30% higher. Right? Employees want to have the access to their pay. It is called as EWA, earned wage access, or on-demand pay, however you want to call it. In India, you now have third parties who are providing on-demand pay. Of course, in a different manner. They are doing a financing route, right? But in a lot of global countries, you have organizations actually providing EWA, earned wage access, which is nothing but on-demand pay. And this cannot be accomplished if we are not ready for it, if we don't have the technology for it, if we don't have the understanding of how this impacts our regulations and our reporting. Right? You can look at how we are managing payroll inquiries. This is a study done by EY. Shared mailbox 57, phone line to payroll 49%. Look at the case management system, it has gone to 30%. And you have call centers and so on and so forth. A lot of times, there is a wrong notion that no, the global payroll will only be given to ADP or these kind of global leaders. Absolutely, hands down, there are global leaders. I respect them. They are our model competitors. But the study very clearly shows that the trend is not the same. Between 2017 to 2019, you see a great reduction in those professionals who have said, can a single vendor handle your payroll needs globally? And you know the reason? Regulations, local expertise, local language. In one of our previous, the PPR, people process regulation slide, we looked at collaborations. That's how this happens. Yeah, so quickly to all of you, a quick question. I know we are running out of time, so I really want to make this quick. If I can bring this request, Rakhi, to bring this up. In your opinion, what best are the opportunities under this fact? Where do you see the best opportunities are there? Technology partnerships beyond payroll software, where you have partnerships to, reconcile, where you have partnerships with tech companies so that data flows from one unconnected system to another unconnected system. So always you shouldn't expect the payroll software to do everything. That's not possible. You will, as we go global, you will have to look at surrounding options, on-demand pay, attendance technologies, and others. Where best are the opportunities under this fact? Yeah, and as I told you in the beginning, there is really never a right or a wrong answer. So your responses are most sought to get to know how it works in your perspective. Rakhi, do we have about 50-60% who have chosen?
Yes, we have 48% participated. I would urge everybody else to also participate and share your views here. Um,
And when I say technology partnerships, I'm not talking about partnerships with the TCSs and the Accentures of the world. No, they may not be even interested in solving our problem, the problem you and I have. I am talking about technology partnerships at a local level. You want a new joinee data to flow directly from the client system to your payroll system.
okay, I think we do have the result. Let me share it quickly.
Beautiful.
Okay, here we go.
Fantastic. See, so all of you say that technology partnerships beyond payroll software is one big opportunity which is available for all of us, and I certainly have to agree with you. India is still catching up with on-demand pay and attendance technology, but certainly it is prevalent in a lot more regions outside of India. Quick fact number 4, the last but the biggest elephant. Data is the new gold. We know that. Sometimes I've also seen data is the new oil as well. Payroll data is a treasure. We just don't have enough pirates running behind it. But you won't believe that there are enough pirates actually wanting this treasure. Payroll data is a treasure because it has so much of PII, personally identifiable information. And the other perspective, the third perspective with the big elephant, the data big elephant, is that there is a worldwide push on prioritizing data privacy. Yes. Now, data privacy and data security are two different aspects. Data privacy talks about how data is collected and how I'm using the data. Data security is the methods and my aspects of protecting the data that I'm collecting. Both are very, very different, right? So on the security aspect, you have topics like encryption, network security, access control, activity monitoring. How do I, do breach response, which means nothing but, okay, there is a loss of data. How do I, inform my clients what action I take? How do I minimize the damage, so on and so forth? Whereas privacy is a lot to do with, how data is removed. What consent do I have to with this data? Can I give to somebody else or not? How do I use that data? As an organization, the organization needs, consent from you, so on and so forth. But this particular big elephant of data is one of the most, sought after elephants where expertise is requested when you think of a local to global perspective, because these are the privacy laws around the world. Even India has a law, just that it's not now a bill. It has become a law in 2023. We have the Personal Data Protection Act of 2023, right? So you can see, if you are there in Germany, you will have to follow BDSG. If you're there in Europe, right, the whole of Europe is covered under GDPR. China has its own data privacy law. Thailand has its own. Most of the countries have their own data privacy laws. And it is not only the employer who's expected to work with data privacy, it is also people like you and me who are expected to work on data privacy. Right? People like you and me, meaning HR professionals, payroll professionals, and payroll service providers like us. And also, to a great extent, even payroll softwares, just like, our friends at Cryptic. They also add a lot of value when they talk of privacy. Right? You should know that about 93% of organizations indicated privacy as a top 10 organizational risk. And this is none other than the International Association for Privacy Professionals. It is not a funded study or anything of that sort. It is a very genuine study. 93% says privacy is their top 10 organizational risks, and 36% ranked it within the top 5. So if you have an edge with respect to privacy as a professional or as an organization or as a service provider, there is so much that you can bring as value to the table. See, you can see the 5 highest priorities when we talk about privacy risks. Data breaches. We are still sending payroll data via Excel over email. No, we can't do that. We shouldn't do that. The least that we should do is at least password protect the Excel file, right? But then privacy is a lot more beyond that. You can see, uh, I think Rakhi said that she will have this session recorded and sent to all of us. So you can definitely spend some time on this slide. But this is a key takeaway to all of you. What to do with sensitive data, what kind of security threats are there when we talk about computer or system, and particularly when we are in remote working environment, how to protect you, the organization you work for, the service provider, so on and so forth, everyone. And also with respect to email, absolutely very, very important. So you can spend some time on this slide once this recording is shared. But here are the galore of opportunities, right? And that is privacy, data privacy awareness to you and your team. So very, very vital when you want to go global. And one of the most important aspects when you want to go global is to get to know which region you want to go global, what are the data privacy laws there, and what practices do you have to change to accommodate to those privacy laws in that particular region. Yes, let's say, for example, in some regions, it is mandatory to get a declaration from the employee when you are sharing information to a third party. It could be a BGV service provider. It could be a payroll service provider. It could be a compliance service provider. Unless and until you have a consent, you are not supposed to share. Yeah. Ensure compliance with privacy laws in other markets. Organizations prefer companies who are serious of data. And when I say data, it's not only privacy. I also say data security. Right? One cannot live without the other. Quickly, the last question, guys. I love all of you to be here for 57 minutes and counting. But this is one last question. And I request all of you to please respond. Are you aware of the impact of Personal Data Protection Act 2023? It's a gradation question, fully aware, somewhat aware, not aware. Are you aware of the impact? We may have heard of Personal Data Protection Act, yes, but are you aware of the impact? That is the question that I have to you professionals. You guys are in HR, you guys are in payroll. It is so important to know what the impact is. And nothing wrong in admitting whether I'm fully aware or whether I'm aware, somewhat aware. Maybe, Rakhi, that this would be a good input for you to have a next session, right? I don't
did
know.
actually, yes, we did actually have one session on this. So all of them who attended that session, I would assume them to at least select aware here, but let's see. Also, as an additional, if you want to check out that episode that we recorded, all the episodes of our webinar series are there on our greytHR channel. You can go there and you can watch it. Miss Mehak Khanna, who's the partner at Khaitan, and Khaitan was the speaker there. So this is an additional input for all of you.
Fantastic.
Okay, so
Great.
I think we do have we have some 70% participation. Let me quickly share the results with all of you.
7-0 or 1-7?
70.
Wow. Thank you. Somewhat aware. So somewhat aware and aware is takes the majority. Beautiful. So I think a lot is desired because there is still 23% who are not aware. But these are some eye openers, right? By being here at this webinar, I think you've taken the first step towards that awareness, ladies and gentlemen. And there is still a lot more to go. And these are all stepping stones for us in our professional careers with respect to what. So we covered all of these four elephants. Complexity of Indian payroll, it's a myth or a reality. Now you know that it is not a reality. It is a myth. And you also have data to somebody who says, particularly an American who says that Indian payroll is very complex. No, not at all. Equation works, PPR, beautiful, equation. I don't have the trademark, so go ahead and use it. PPR, people, process, regulations. Do it from left to right. Regulations lead to process, lead to people. Payroll as a business partner, let's open our eyes wide and ears long. Let's look at how payroll can add value to the business. Hey guys, let's start competing with HR business partners. Let's become payroll business partners. And the last elephant was about data and payroll. It's a very important elephant, and we need to treat this elephant very, very well. So thank you very much for very patiently listening. I always want to complete it on time. I'm still yet to master this art of completing within the time that is allocated to me. My sincere apologies for
Not at all. I don't think anybody would, not like it, because there was a lot that you covered. It was very comprehensive, very insightful. We talked about what's the global trends look like, what is the difference here in India with other countries. You talked about technology and how, as you said, we need to start, establishing ourselves or working towards it as payroll business partners. So all of that you covered. It was very insightful. And if you have, anybody from the audience, if you have missed out on anything, again, do not worry. We'll share this recording with you, and you will have all this information there as well. So thank you so much once again, Akash, for this wonderful presentation that you gave us today. It was very, again, insightful, knowledgeable, engaging as well. I think the most participation that we have seen in the recent webinars. So thank you so much for that. Now, I would request the audience to put down their questions if you still have any feedback. I see one feedback from Anil. He's asking me to convey his thanks and gratitude to you. So thank you so much again, Akash, for that. And
Thank you, Anil. Appreciate it.
yes,
I keep telling my team that when people invest their hour with us, it is imperative that we satisfy two things. One, deliver great content. Second, in an engaging manner. So that's my effort to do that. Thank you very much.
definitely. Also, I'm just looking for more questions or feedback if there's any. And I have added Akash's LinkedIn profile here in the chat. I'm sure all of you can access it. So you can go hit the connect button right away and, have this connection with Akash, share all your queries with him. I'm sure he'll be, happy to answer all of that and
Absolutely. Absolutely.
build
Thank you for
some
that,
great
Raj.
relationships.
It's certainly a pleasure to be connected with like-minded HR and payroll professionals, business owners, so on and so forth.
Definitely. Also, I think you shared everything. There's not a lot of questions, but a lot of wonderful comments that we are seeing. Manasi is thanking you for this wonderful session. Dinesh, thank you for the insights. Akash, all the very best. Bhavika, again, thank you for your time and sharing your knowledge. Ravindra, thank you so much for this insightful and knowledgeable session. So I'm sure this was a success, and we definitely enjoyed it, Akash, as you can see. And I hope you also enjoyed this conversation. Also, just one more thing before we log out today. For our audience, there's also Great Tribe community. A lot of you are already aware of that. This is a community by Great HR, where we have experts like Akash, who can help you with your queries. There are a lot of discussions that we do, live sessions, insightful videos that we upload. You can sign up to that community and have some conversations there too. Also, as promised, I will share the recording with you all with with this link of the episode and Akash's email ID. So once again, thank you so much, Akash, for all your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you all the best, and let's do wonders with payroll.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for this engaging session. See you soon in the next one. Thank you so much.